So now that you've seen a sample daily draw and a sample 3-card spread, you can see how easy and fun it is to just get right into working with your cards intuitively and through spreads. I want to talk for a moment about branching out into larger spreads because those can be quite unnerving and quite a challenge. So I would offer to you that if you are new in your tarot journey, perhaps you stay between 1 and 5 card spreads for a little while. Not because you're not ready to branch into a larger spread, but it's just helpful not to be kind of overwhelmed by so many messages of 10 to 12 cards, some 20 to 30 cards. Some spreads are that large, and that can be quite a challenge to interpret and not get overwhelmed by all the different messages. And how do I weave them together, or how does Spirit weave them together to equal one concrete message, which, whether you're reading for someone else or yourself, is what you're actually looking for. And I also want to talk a moment about the Celtic cross spread. This is a diagram from the Gilded Tarot of the Celtic cross spread, just so you can see if you happen to have not heard about it. It's one of the most popular tarot spreads ever. It accompanies virtually every Little White book and every tarot book. While I certainly appreciate the Celtic cross spread and its value for us as tarot readers and us as people experiencing this life, I would invite you to not get so stuck on trying this out, especially as one of your first ones. When you do feel ready to work with this spread, I also invite you to work with just the cross before branching out into all of this. Or perhaps just this section before branching out into all of this, before you use the spread as a whole, just to get comfortable with the energy of the spread. It can be weighty and difficult to interpret. A lot of students that I've worked with end up getting stumped on this spread and then they give up. So if you're feeling like this spread just doesn't work for you, don't feel bad. Don't feel like you have to use it. Put it aside until another time. And perhaps that time won't come, and focus on other spreads. What I want to talk about now is reading intuitively instead of using a spread. So this can be a very beautiful and organic process, but for some people it's very frightening. So when you choose to read intuitively, and that can become as many cards as you like to use, what I like to do is look at the cards as a story. And this really does involve getting quiet enough to listen to the messages and the energies, as well as the meanings of the cards themselves, so that you can see where the storyline is heading and what the main answer to the issue is. So what I'm going to do in a moment is show you an example of how to read intuitively without using a spread that has given meanings for where the cards are being placed. So because for the previous 2 spreads I used myself as the querent, for this intuitive spread I'm not going to use myself. We're going to pretend that there's someone here who has a question and they're wondering if they should leave their job or not, if they should follow their dreams and start out on a path that is uncertain career-wise. So what I would do, again, my space has been set up for this, and I would invite the querent then to shuffle the cards until it felt right with them instinctively. I'm just going to move this sample spread. To then cut the deck into 3. Now, because I'm reading intuitively, I'm just going to start with a number of cards, and then I might ask them to draw more later. If I was reading for myself, I would be following the same method. So I'll say, let's draw 3 cards to start out with. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is not be afraid of the fact that I'm going to have to be quiet for a few moments while I look at the deck, while I look at the spread that I have here, because there's no set meanings. So I'm just looking at the storyline right now. And then I start talking. This is a way for me to get messages more clearly. And just by talking, I get more information. I find for myself, and you might find that works for you too. So the first card that the querent drew was the Ace of Coins, followed by the Hanged Man and the Ten of Swords. I would offer to them that right now they're in an amazing space to create physical and material abundance. I also noticed that the coin itself is coming from heaven, and that the shower of hearts and stars, of joy and love, is coming from heaven itself. And so I would say that this is pointing to the fact that it's very important for them to be following their calling right now at this time. Also, it's important for them to realize that Spirit itself is wanting to work with them for this, and to realize that they're not alone, and that this is an amazing space to begin working towards following a new direction. There's a lot of energy and guidance there for the querent to do this. Following the Ace of Coins is the Hanged Man. Now, this is interesting because it is a major arcana card. And we also see that we've gone from the space of spring into, now we're in the fall. There's a lot of black and white. Let me just show you. That's the Hanged Man, and this is the Ace of Coins. There's a lot of black and white, and the querent might find themselves kind of flipped over into the ideas and the plan that they had to start out on their own, that there's going to come a time in the path when it's important for them to let go of that set plan, and to really follow their heart and their intuition, and not be stuck on a plan or a goal for ultimate material success. There might be a time where they are not experiencing a moment of plenty, but rather just finding enough to get by, and also realizing that it's important for them not to get into this space of martyrdom about that, but to really focus on why they're doing what they're doing and why they've made the choice to start out on their own financial path. Finally, that we have the Ten of Swords. So it's interesting as I'm looking at this that I see there's a snail. There's also a snake in the river. There's water represented in the picture, which is talking a lot about emotions. So there's going to come a space for the querent as they're following this new path of branching out on their own, where there'll be a moment of fear and doubt, and an overwhelming feeling of emotions that might show up. And that it's important to remember that although there are 10 swords buried in the ground behind them that seem to be blocking their path, they actually have a sword in their hands presently that they could use to get rid of all of this, to clear a path, to step through to the side where they want to get. At this point, I would ask the querent, please pick another card from the deck. From that, we have, off of the Ten of Swords, the Four of Wands. So, again, we step into from spring and fall to winter. We're back into summer here. So the journey will be full circle for them. There's going to be moments of doubt and fear of loss, and am I going to be able to make it? And yet, if they follow the journey of branching off on their own and following their own path creatively and materially, there's going to be great celebration and joy and union. They might even meet someone else who career-wise inspires them, or perhaps is even a future mate in their life. So there's going to be joy and abundance in the end for them if they can be brave enough to experience all the seasons of being brave enough to branch out on their own materially. So you can see how intuitively there was a storyline and an arc that we followed, and we didn't need a set name or a set space for each card in the spread to arrive at the answer, which is that for them it would be, at this time, a great plan to be bold and to follow their own path. So you can see, I'm just going to move the camera. So you can see how easy it is to read intuitively, and that it isn't as scary as it may feel when you first start doing it. Especially when you read for yourself, you might feel like, oh no, what if I'm not reading it right and I'm whitewashing what I'm seeing in the cards. If you can remember to listen to the quiet voice that shows up and gives you an answer when you're looking at the cards, instead of the voice that says, well, the lover showed up, I want it to mean that my future husband is coming and that I'm going to meet him soon. If you can choose to listen to the quiet voice and inside of yourself, which may in fact be saying, wow, it's really important for me right now to focus on myself and healing myself and becoming a space of unity within my own being before I look for that outside. You can have accurate readings for yourself. So don't feel like you can't do that, or that intuitively it won't work for yourself, where it might work if you're reading for others. So hopefully you've seen now that you can use written spreads and create your own, and also not use a spread at all, but read intuitively, to have successful tarot readings for yourself and for others in your life. I invite you at the end of this Intro to Tarot series to continue working with your cards. Try to work with them daily if possible. Get to know them really well. And just be free and free-spirited about working with them, and they will reciprocate that energy, and it will be a very spiritual experience for you. So thank you for watching the Intro to Tarot series with me. And I look forward to spending more time with you as we start working with Oracle cards next. Thanks for watching. Bye.